"Take it, Henry. I'm not hungry." Maya said the words with a smile, handing her steaming breakfast sandwich to the homeless man trembling in the snow. It was a lie. A necessary, painful lie. She was starving. She hadn't eaten in 24 hours. Her stomach was effectively empty, a hollow pit that burned with acid. But she forced the smile to stay on her face, ignoring the dizziness that threatened to topple her over, because she knew Henry had his pride. He wouldn't take the food if he knew it was the only thing keeping her standing. She didn't know that 50 feet away, parked silently in the shadows of the alley entrance, a black armored SUV with tinted windows was watching her. Inside, a 4-star general held high-powered tactical binoculars to his eyes. He wasn't looking for insurgents or enemies of the state. He was watching a tiny dishwasher in a grease-stained apron give away her lifeline. He watched her shiver, not just from the biting Chicago wind, but from the weakness of malnutrition. The general lowered the binoculars slowly, his knuckles white as he gripped them. He turned to the squad of military police sitting in silence behind him. "That's him," he whispered, his voice thick with an emotion that terrified his subordinates. "And that woman, she has no idea who she's protecting. Move in. But be gentle." When the doors flew open and the soldiers marched out, boots crunching heavily on the ice, Maya didn't run. Any other civilian would have fled, but Maya didn't know she was standing between the United States Army and a ghost. She just knew she had to protect her friend. If you believe that true heroes are defined by how they treat the poor, not by the medals on their chest, like this video right now, let's see how many people still believe in kindness. 3 hours earlier, Maya felt like she was going to die. Being a dishwasher at Big Ed's Diner in downtown Chicago wasn't just a job, it was a daily battle for physical survival. The steam in the back kitchen was suffocating, a humid cloud thick with the smell of stale grease, bleach, and burnt onions. Maya's hands were permanently red and raw, the skin peeling in strips from the harsh industrial soap she used for 10 hours a day. The chemicals had eaten away her fingerprints, leaving her hands looking like they belonged to a woman 3 times her age. But the stinging pain in her hands was nothing compared to the sharp, cramping pain in her stomach. Maya was in the deep, gnawing stage of starvation. She hadn't eaten a solid meal since yesterday morning. Her paycheck had come in 2 days ago, and every single penny, all $400 of it, had gone directly to the pharmacy counter. Her 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had severe chronic asthma. Her lungs were fragile, constantly teetering on the edge of collapse. Without her daily inhalers and steroids, a simple cold could turn into a death sentence. The medication cost a fortune, rising every month. And Maya was doing it alone. Lily's father hadn't just left. He had fled the country 3 years ago to avoid child support, disappearing into Mexico and leaving Maya with mountains of debt and a broken heart. So Maya did the math. It was a brutal, simple equation. She could feed herself or she could keep her daughter breathing. It wasn't even a choice. Lily ate eggs and toast. Lily had juice. Lily had life. Maya had water. To trick her stomach, Maya had developed a painful, desperate routine. She would fill a plastic cup with tap water, squeeze a stolen packet of lemon juice into it, and add a pinch of salt. The salt kept her blood pressure from bottoming out and causing her to faint. The lemon made the water feel substantial, acidic enough to fool her brain for 20 minutes. But today, the trick wasn't working. As she scrubbed a lasagna pan with burnt cheese stuck to the corners, her vision blurred. Black spots danced in front of her eyes. Her knees buckled, hitting the cabinet door. "Maya, pick up the pace. We're out of forks on table 4. Rick, the manager, shouted from the pass-through window. His voice was like a whip. Rick didn't care that Maya was a single mom. He didn't care that her ex-husband was a deadbeat. He only cared about turnover and profit margins. To him, Maya was just a piece of equipment that was malfunctioning. "On it, Rick," Maya whispered, gripping the cold steel of the sink to stay upright, willing the room to stop spinning. She kept scrubbing. The smell of bacon and pancakes wafting from the grill was pure torture. It was everywhere. She was drowning in the scent of food, scraping half-eaten burgers and fries into the trash, handling more calories in 5 minutes than she had eaten all week. Her body screamed at her to grab a leftover crust, anything, but she knew the rules. Stealing food meant immediate termination, and she couldn't lose the health insurance. Finally, at 10 a.m., came the only moment that mattered. The staff meal. It was the one perk of the job. Once a day, the cooks made a sandwich for the dishwasher. Sal, the line cook, a man who suspected her struggle but never asked, slid the foil-wrapped package onto the counter. "Here you go, Maya. Extra cheese today. Make sure you eat it while it's hot." Maya grabbed it. The heat radiating through the foil felt like life itself against her frozen fingers. Her mouth watered instantly, a painful reaction from her starved glands. Her body screamed, "Eat it. Eat it now. Save yourself." She looked at the sandwich. It was heavy. It was enough calories to get her through the next 12 hours. It would stop the shaking. It would clear the fog in her brain. But then, she looked at the clock on the wall. 10:05 a.m. She didn't unwrap it. She didn't take a bite. Instead, she tucked it into her apron pocket, feeling its warmth against her hip, and walked toward the back door. It was time. For the last 6 months, this had been their ritual. Every single day at 10:05 a.m., rain or shine, Maya fed old Henry. Henry lived in the alley behind the diner, nesting between the dumpsters and the brick wall where the kitchen vents blew out warm, greasy air. He was a terrifying sight to most people. Huge, with a matted beard that hid his face, wearing layers of dirty coats, smelling of wet wool and garbage. He was mute, or at least he never spoke. He just made low noises in his throat when he was scared, like a wounded animal. Most people crossed the street to avoid him. Teenagers threw snowballs or trash at him. But Maya knew the truth. Henry wasn't dangerous. He was broken. She had seen him move a spider out of the way so he wouldn't step on it. She saw the gentleness in his hands. She stepped out into the biting wind. The snow was falling in thick, wet clumps, instantly soaking her thin sneakers. Henry was sitting on his usual milk crate, shivering so violently that his entire body vibrated, his teeth chattering with a sound like dice in a cup. When he saw Maya, he didn't beg. He just looked down, ashamed of his own need. Maya knelt in the snow, ignoring the cold water soaking into her knees. "Hey, Henry," she said softly. He looked up. His eyes were a startling clear blue, contrasting with the dirt on his face. He looked at her pocket. He knew the routine. But today, he seemed to hesitate. He looked at Maya's face, really looked at her. He saw the pale, waxy skin. He saw the dark purple circles under her eyes. He saw her swaying slightly in the wind, fighting gravity. He knew. Somehow, the crazy homeless man knew she was hungry too. Maya pulled out the sandwich. The steam rose up between them, smelling of melted cheese and ham. "Here," she said. Henry didn't take it. He made a low grunting sound and pushed her hand back toward her own mouth. His eyes pleaded with her. He was telling her to eat. Maya's heart broke. He was freezing and starving, living in an alley, yet he was trying to feed her. She forced a bright, fake smile. Her stomach cramped, a sharp pain that almost made her double over. "No, Henry, take it," she lied, keeping her voice steady and cheerful. "I had a huge breakfast at home. Pancakes, sausage, eggs, everything. I'm stuffed. I'm not hungry." She pushed the food into his scarred, frozen hands. "If you don't eat it, I'm just going to throw it away. Don't let it go to waste." It was the only way to make him accept it. Henry nodded slowly. He unwrapped the foil with trembling fingers and took a bite. The look of pure relief on his face was worth every hunger pang Maya felt. "You stay warm, okay?" Maya whispered. She stood up, dizziness washing over her like a wave. She had done her good deed. She had kept him alive for one more day. Now, she just had to survive the rest of her shift on lemon water and willpower. She turned to go back inside. That was when the ground started to shake. It wasn't an earthquake. It was a convoy. 3 massive black SUVs with government plates turned into the narrow alley, blocking both ends. They moved with aggressive precision, cutting off any escape. Blue lights flashed silently on the dashboards, reflecting off the snow. Maya froze, her hand on the door handle. Immigration? Police? Panic surged. If she got arrested, who would get Lily from school? The doors of the vehicles flew open in perfect sync. Men in tactical gear poured out, military police. They carried rifles, not handguns. They didn't look like local cops. They looked like they were invading a country. "Secure the exits! Eyes on the package!" one of them shouted. Then, from the center vehicle, a man stepped out. He was different. He was older, tall, and wore a pristine Army Service green uniform that seemed immune to the dirty alley. 4 silver stars glinted on his shoulders. His chest was heavy with medals that told a story of a lifetime of war. A general. He didn't look at the diner. He didn't look at Maya. His eyes were locked on Henry. Henry dropped the sandwich into the snow. Panic seized him. He scrambled backward, pressing his spine against the brick wall, covering his head with his arms. He began to wail. A high, terrified sound like a wounded animal. He thought they were coming to kill him. He thought the war had finally found him. The soldiers advanced. The adrenaline hit Maya like a lightning bolt. She forgot she was weak. She forgot she was a nobody dishwasher. She forgot she hadn't eaten. She let go of the door and sprinted. She threw herself between the advancing soldiers and the cowering homeless man, spreading her arms wide like a shield. "Stop!" she screamed, her voice cracking. "Get back!" The soldiers hesitated, confused by the tiny woman in a dirty apron blocking their path. The general stopped walking. He looked at Maya. His face was stone cold, unreadable. "Ma'am," the general said, his voice deep and commanding, a voice used to being obeyed. "Step aside. This is a military operation." "I don't care who you are," Maya snapped, her whole body trembling with fear and hunger, but planting her feet firmly. "He's sick. He's terrified. Look at him. He hasn't done anything. If you want to hurt him, you have to go through me." The general frowned. He walked closer until he was looming over her. He looked down at the half-eaten sandwich in the snow. Then he looked at Maya's fierce, desperate eyes. He saw the fire in them. "You're protecting him?" the general asked, his tone strange, softening slightly. "Do you know who he is?" "He's Henry," Maya cried, tears freezing on her cheeks. "He's a human being. He's my friend." The general slowly reached up and removed his cap. He looked past Maya's shoulder, directly at the man curled up in the trash. The general's eyes, so hard a moment ago, suddenly filled with tears. "No, ma'am," the general whispered, his voice breaking. "That's not Henry. That is Commander Silas Vance. And I've been looking for my brother for 5 years." Maya stood frozen in the snow, her arms still spread wide. The general's words hung in the freezing air like mist. Commander Silas Vance. She looked down at Henry. The man she knew as a gentle, terrified soul who collected bottle caps and feared loud noises was a commander? The general, whose name tag read General R. Vance, didn't wait for Maya to process this. He slowly lowered himself onto one knee in the slush. He didn't care about his pristine uniform pants soaking up the dirty alley water. He moved with a slowness that was deliberate, trying not to spook the man curled against the wall. "Silas?" the general whispered. His voice wasn't the booming voice of a commander anymore. It was the voice of a little brother. "It's me. It's Robert." Henry, or Silas, didn't look up. He was rocking back and forth, his hands clamped over his ears, muttering a string of numbers. 4. Niner. Static. Clear. The soldiers behind the general shifted uneasily. To them, this was just a crazy hobo in a pile of trash. But the general raised a hand, commanding absolute silence without looking back. "Silas," Robert said again, inching closer. "The LZ is cold. You can stand down, soldier. The mission is over." At those words, "The mission is over," Henry's rocking slowed. He peeked out from behind his dirty hands. His blue eyes, usually so vacant, locked onto the general's face. He scanned the medals. He scanned the face. A flicker of recognition sparked in the darkness of his mind. Henry's trembling hand moved away from his ear. Slowly, painfully, he raised his hand to his brow. It wasn't a perfect salute. It was shaky, weak, and his fingers were black with grime. But it was a salute. The general choked back a sob. He returned the salute, crisp and perfect. "I found you," the general wept, tears freely running down his cheeks. "I swore I wouldn't stop until I found you." Maya watched, her heart pounding against her ribs. She lowered her arms. The threat was gone. But as the adrenaline left her body, the hunger rushed back in with a vengeance. The world tilted sideways. She had to grab the rusted handle of the diner door to keep from falling. Why was a highly decorated commander living behind a diner eating scraps? Why did he scream when cars backfired? The general stood up and turned to Maya, seeing her confusion. He wiped his face, composing himself. He needed her to understand. He needed the world to understand. 5 years ago, the general began, his voice rough. Silas wasn't like this. He was the sharpest tactical mind in the special forces. We were in Kabul, an extraction mission. The general looked at the brick wall, but he was seeing the desert. We were ambushed. An IED, improvised explosive device, was rigged to a bridge. I was the captain then. I was standing right on top of the pressure plate. I didn't see it, but Silas did. Maya listened, forgetting her hunger for a second. He didn't yell. He didn't hesitate. He tackled me, the general said, unconsciously touching a scar on his chin. He threw me into a drainage ditch and threw his own body over mine. He took the blast. All of it. The explosion didn't kill Silas Vance, but it shattered his world. The shockwave caused a severe traumatic brain injury, TBI. When he woke up in a military hospital in Germany, the Silas everyone knew was gone. His brain, it rewired itself, the general explained softly. He couldn't handle silence, and he couldn't handle specific frequencies. The beeping of the heart monitors in the hospital. To him, they sounded like the countdown timer of the bomb. Beep, beep, beep. One night, terrified by the machines that were supposed to heal him, Silas pulled out his IVs. He climbed out a bathroom window and vanished into the European night. He ran because he thought the hospital was going to explode, the general said, looking at his brother who was now calmly eating the rest of Maya's sandwich. He's been running for 5 years. We think he stays in the city because the constant noise of traffic acts like white noise. It drowns out the bomb timer in his head. Maya looked at Henry with new eyes. The crazy man wasn't crazy. He was stuck in the moment of his greatest sacrifice. He was living that explosion every single second of every single day. Something difficult. We walk past people like Henry every day. We call them bums or junkies. But if you knew that the homeless man on the corner was a hero who lost his mind saving others, would you treat him differently? Why do we need a uniform to respect a human being? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. The general turned his full attention to Maya. His eyes narrowed. My men tracked a credit card hit to a pharmacy near here, the general said. Silas didn't use it, but someone used his old ID number to try and fill a prescription, probably found it in his pocket. I didn't steal anything, Maya blurted out, defensive. I know. The general raised a hand. That wasn't you. That was 3 months ago. That's how we narrowed down the area. But we've been watching this block for 2 hours. We saw what you did. The general walked over to where the sandwich wrapper lay in the snow. He picked it up. My brother is a big man. He needs 3,000 calories a day just to keep warm in this weather, the general said. You bring him food every day? Just leftovers, Maya lied again, feeling dizzy. Black spots were dancing in her vision. It's nothing. The general looked at Maya. He was trained to notice details. He saw the way her uniform hung loosely on her frame. He saw the hollows of her cheeks. He saw the tremors in her hands that she was trying to hide by clenching her fists. Leftovers? The general asked sharply. Ma'am, I watched you through high-powered optics. That wasn't leftovers. That was a fresh staff meal. And I saw you almost eat it. You put it to your mouth. You were shaking. The general glanced at a tactical tablet held by one of his aides. We didn't just rush in here, ma'am. We do our recon, the general said, his voice lowering. My lieutenant spoke to your manager, Rick, 10 minutes ago while securing the perimeter. He confirmed everything. He told us you've been sneaking your own staff meal out the back door every single morning since you were hired 6 months ago. The general shook his head in disbelief. Rick told us he was planning to fire you for it next week. He thought you were stealing company property. He didn't know you were keeping a man alive. He took a step closer. The authority in his voice was terrifying, but his eyes were kind. When was the last time you ate, ma'am? Maya opened her mouth to lie, to say she had a big dinner, but her body betrayed her. Her stomach let out a loud, painful growl that echoed in the quiet alley. Maya's face burned with shame. I have a daughter, she whispered, her voice sounding far away. She needs Pulmicort. She needs albuterol. The copay went up. I had to choose. The general stared at her. He had seen bravery on the battlefield. He had seen men charge machine gun nests. But he realized, standing in this dirty alley, that he had never seen bravery like this. A mother starving herself to feed her child, and still finding enough love to feed a stranger. "You gave him your only food," the general said, stunned. "You're starving, and you fed him." "He was cold," Maya mumbled. The world was spinning faster now. The general's face was blurring into two images. He doesn't have anyone. "Maya?" The general reached out. "I'm fine," she said, but her voice was slurred. "I just need some water. With lemon?" The adrenaline that had sustained her during the confrontation evaporated. Her blood sugar crashed. Her legs, which had stood so firm against the U.S. Army, turned to jelly. It happened in slow motion. Maya's eyes rolled back. Her knees hit the snow first, followed by her shoulder. "Medic!" the general roared. It was a battlefield command. He didn't wait for his soldiers. He scooped Maya up off the freezing ground. She was alarmingly light. She felt like a bird. Fragile, thin bones wrapped in a greasy apron. Henry, Commander Silas, saw her fall. He let out a distressed howl. He scrambled up from his crate, dropping the food, reaching for her. "She's okay, Silas." "We got her!" the general yelled to his brother, holding Maya securely. A medic rushed forward with a bag, ripping open a glucose pack. "She's hypoglycemic, sir. Pulse is weak and thready. She's malnourished. We need to stabilize her now." The general looked down at the woman in his arms. He looked at her cracked lips and her red, raw hands. He felt a rage burn inside him. Not at her, but at a world where a woman like this had to starve to save her child. "Get the convoy moving," the general barked. "We are not going to the base. We are going to Mercy General Hospital. And get the director on the phone. Now." "Sir, we can't take a civilian in the convoy," a young lieutenant stammered. "Protocol states..." The general turned on him with a look that could melt steel. "Protocol?" The general hissed. "This woman just kept a decorated American commander alive for 6 months while we were pushing papers. She is a VIP. If you have a problem with that, Lieutenant, you can walk home." The lieutenant went pale. "Yes, sir. Moving out." They loaded Maya into the back of the armored SUV, wrapped in thermal blankets. Henry refused to get in unless he could hold her hand. The general allowed it. As the convoy sped away, sirens wailing, leaving the dirty alley behind, Maya was unconscious. She didn't know that her shift at the diner was over forever. She didn't know that the water and lemon days were done. She had saved a life. Now karma was coming to collect the debt. And karma was a 4-star general with an unlimited budget and a very angry heart. The first thing Maya felt was softness. She wasn't sleeping on her lumpy mattress with the broken springs. She wasn't standing on the greasy tile floor of the diner. She was floating on a cloud. Then came the smell. Not bleach and old frying oil, but lavender and antiseptic. Maya's eyes fluttered open. The light was soft and dim. She was in a hospital room, but not the kind she was used to. The crowded ER hallways where she waited for hours with Lily. This was a private suite. Mahogany trim, a large window overlooking the Chicago skyline, and a silent digital monitor tracking her vitals. Panic hit her instantly. It was a cold, sharp spike in her chest. Private room, specialists, monitors. Her brain did the math before she even fully woke up. This room probably cost $5,000 a night. The ambulance ride alone was $2,000. She sat up, ripping the sensors off her finger. The heart monitor beeped faster. "I can't be here," she gasped, her voice raspy. "I have to leave." She tried to swing her legs out of bed, but a hand gently stopped her. "Easy, Maya. You're not going anywhere." It was General Vance, but he looked different. He had taken off his dress jacket with the medals. He was in his shirt sleeves, looking tired, sitting in a chair by her bed. He looked less like a monument and more like a grandfather. "You don't understand," Maya said, tears instantly welling up. "I don't have insurance for this. I have $17 in my bank account. Please, I have to go. I have a shift. If I miss my shift, Rick will..." "Rick isn't your boss anymore," the general said calmly. "And you don't have a shift." Maya froze. "He fired me?" The despair crashed down on her. "Oh God, how am I going to buy Lily's inhalers? How am I..." "Maya, listen to me." The general's voice was firm, cutting through her panic. "Rick didn't fire you. You resigned. I accepted your resignation on your behalf about 3 hours ago. I also had a very long, very loud conversation with Rick about labor laws and break times. I don't think he'll be bothering you again." Maya stared at him, confused. "But the bill? Who is paying for this?" The general stood up. He walked over to the window, looking out at the snow. "In the military, we have a code," he said softly. "Leave no man behind. But we also have another rule. Debts are paid." He turned back to her. "My brother Silas, for 5 years, he was listed as missing in action. Do you know what happens to a commander's salary when he is MIA?" Maya shook her head. "It accumulates," the general said. 5 years of base pay, hazard pay, and special operations bonuses. It's been sitting in an escrow account, waiting for him to come home or be declared dead. It's a lot of money, Maya. More than a diner dishwasher makes in 10 lifetimes. He walked to the bedside table and picked up a thick envelope. Silas is awake. He's down the hall getting a shave and a hot meal. His first real meal in years. He's lucid. The doctor said he was on the brink of hypothermia every single night. The general paused, letting the weight of the words sink in. That sandwich, those high calories, they were the only fuel his body had to generate heat in the cold. Without that daily meal, his organs would have shut down months ago. You didn't just feed him, Maya. You kept him from freezing to death. The general placed the envelope on Maya's lap. Silas signed this 10 minutes ago. It's a check. It covers your daughter's medical bills, all of them. Past, present, and future. And it buys you a house. A real house. No more renting. Maya looked at the envelope. Her hands shook as she touched it. I can't take this. I just gave him a sandwich. I didn't do it for money. We know, the general smiled, and his eyes crinkled at the corners. That's exactly why you deserve it. Consider it a bonus, or better yet, consider it back pay for being the only soldier on the field who did her duty. The door to the room opened slowly. A nurse pushed a wheelchair in. Sitting in it was a man Maya almost didn't recognize. He was clean-shaven. The matted beard was gone, revealing a strong, square jaw and a scar on his chin. His hair was cut short, military style. He was wearing clean hospital scrubs, not trash bags. It was Henry, or rather, Commander Silas Vance. He looked 10 years younger. He still looked fragile. His eyes were still a bit wide, a bit too alert. But the wild terror was gone. He wheeled himself over to Maya's bed. He looked at the IV in her arm. He looked at the color returning to her cheeks. For a long moment, silence filled the room. The general watched from the corner, arms crossed, protecting them both. Silas reached into his lap. His hands, now scrubbed clean of the alley grime, were holding something. It was a green plastic cup. Inside was Jell-O. He held it out to Maya, his hand shaking slightly. Maya laughed through her tears. It was the reverse of their ritual. "For me?" she whispered. Silas nodded. He cleared his throat. His voice was rusty, unused for half a decade. It sounded like gravel grinding together. "You..." Silas struggled to form the words. "You... not... hungry?" He was repeating her lie back to her. "I'm not hungry." He knew. He had known all along that she was starving herself for him. Maya took the Jell-O. She took a bite, even though she was crying so hard she could barely swallow. "No, Henry. Silas," she smiled, wiping her eyes. "I'm starving." "Me too," Silas rasped. A small, shy smile broke across his face. The general stepped forward. "We found your ex-husband, by the way, in Cancun." Maya stiffened. "Don't worry," the general's tone turned icy. "Legal JAG officers are down there now. Let's just say he's suddenly very eager to pay every cent of the child support he owes, plus interest. He won't be bothering you, but the checks will start arriving on Monday." Maya looked at these two men, brothers of war, reunited by a sandwich. She realized her life of fear was over. The water, salt, and lemon diet was over. Maya saved a commander with a simple sandwich. But in the end, they saved each other. Today, Silas is no longer a ghost shivering in an alley. He is the uncle playing catch with a healthy Lily in the front yard of a house they own, paid for by the brother he finally came home to. It proves that you don't need a uniform to be a hero. Sometimes, you just need to break a sandwich in half. If you believe kindness always finds its way back to you, hit that like button and share this story. I'll see you in the next video.